So actually, there's another session right now by Adjust, finding a signal in the noise, what 2025 gaming trends reveal about measurements.
Everyone, thank you for being here. I'm Cansu. I'm leading growth across Europe at Adjust. And today I'm really excited to talk about finding signal in the noise. That phrase that has been used a lot, but in gaming in general, we can say it's not just a metaphor, but it's our daily reality. And today, teams, they have more data than ever, but data is fragmented. Gaming companies working with many networks, which means more dashboards, more reports they are dealing with on a daily basis. And the problem is not about tracking the performance actually, but it's all about finding the right signals to predict growth and also that will give you an idea when you are scaling up which signals they will get louder. So today I will going to unpack this topic. And let's get it started. Is So let's look at our gaming report in 2025, and we will talk about the confidence gap. So measurement has quietly become more complex than ever, right? Nowadays, we are working with this aggregated privacy-centric data, user device-level data, and modeled outcome, which is creating multi-layer data structure, and that often reduces the confidence instead of increasing it. And when we look at install and session growth in 2024, we have seen 4% year-over-year growth in installs, but when it comes to sessions, it slightly went down, which means acquiring new users, more users, that doesn't necessarily mean more engagements. That also tells us a story about the campaign types, right? Nowadays, we are shifting towards value-based campaigns, which means that when we are releasing that new report around March, stay tuned, please, so we might seeing a different picture. And let's look at the number of partners gaming companies working with. I mean, ad networks and marketing channels. In 2023, median partners per app was 5.7. And in 2024, that increased to 6.2, which exactly highlights that the companies, they are diversifying their marketing mix. And when we look at hyper-casual, hybrid-casual titles, they're actually hitting over 10, 12 different partners, right? What does that mean? That means more touch points, more overlaps, and that's the main reason why we started having deeper conversation about attribution settings, re-attribution settings, how we can customize it, how multi-touch attribution come into play, and we can evaluate the campaign performance in a better way, right? What matters the most? Analyzing the marketing mix and then creating a strategy, marketing strategy to give the right credit for the specific marketing channels. That's what we are focusing on nowadays. And as I mentioned, growth is moving away from volume to value-based campaigns. So the most important thing is efficiency per user. Growth is just an efficiency game right now. And we all hear about CPIs are increasing. I wanted to put in context. In 2024, we have seen 17% year-over-year CPI inflation in North America and in the US. And that means, yeah, costs are increasing, but at the same time, when the winning gaming companies, they are not just focusing on higher volume of users, they can bid higher because they are generating more value out of per user, right? So that's shifting our strategy right now because it's a very competitive market. We are trying to find a better way to extract more value per user. And everything we have discussed right now, that's moving towards to this new growth equation, margin to bid. So basically, margin to beat, that refers to confident predictive LTV multiplied by payback speed. So why that matters? Because that simply decides who can scale and who cannot. And LTV confidence, that's how sure we are about future value and how accurately we can predict that value. And payback speed, how fast we can recover UA spend, right? Let me give you an example. Like average median LTV by day 30, it's around 63 cents. And if we are spending $2 or more to acquire a user, which will require a very exceptionally high early monetization, right? That's why UA teams, they are emphasizing on retention and early spend patterns to improve that payback speed. And let's talk about how we can build that confidence, right? How we can create that early signals which will predict LTV. Because not all early metrics, they are equal, right? There are some metrics which will be still valuable, which will be still important for you to keep track of them. But that doesn't mean they will also share these insights for you to predict the future value. So what we can talk about here is the first signal I want to talk about here is early monetization path entry. So high LTV players don't necessarily spend early, but they recognize value early, which means these high LTV players, maybe they are going to spend, but maybe not in the early stages because it's just a matter of timing, right? If you can understand and measure the intent behind it, you're just one step ahead of the game. And retention shape, not only just retention rate, but retention shape is becoming important because if you have a stable retention floor, which means the users are coming back to your app regularly, they understand the game dynamics, and the most importantly, it is giving your monetization system enough time to work. Let's look at these examples. Like there are two games, a very similar day one retention rate, 32% and 38%. And the first game that stabilizes at 8 to 10% by day 7, and the second one that falls to 2%, which you will see completely different results, right? That's why we are focusing on this healthy, stable progress. And the third signal is progression velocity. So early progression is how players experience value. You know, not how long players play, but also how far they get and how fast they get. Because LTV is coming from that habit formation, right? And long signal sessions, that can be misleading. Maybe just one session, 40 minutes length, but then you're losing that user, and the other one, you're seeing this healthy growth over 3 days, and they will come back to your app because they understand the game dynamics, and probably they will also engage with your monetization system. That's why it's important. And finally, the last signal is ad tolerance signal. This is not about how much ad revenue you are generating for the early first 2 days or within the first 24 hours, right? This is more of like understanding if these users are going to tolerate the ads, right? So we are measuring here how much players accept, what is the tolerance rate, and this is the proxy for our long-term monetization strategy. So that doesn't mean that we are not going to work with this valuable, important metrics. Of course, we are going to keep this existing dashboards, right? CPI, CTR, IPM, day 1, day 7 retention, ARPDAU, ROAS, those are still very valuable metrics. But what we are introducing here is adding this early signal layer, expanding that in-app events, in-app event set, and that will give you more signals in terms of that specific intent. For instance, monetization intent, you can set up a specific event for overview. Reach level X by day 2. That can give you good indicators if these users are going to be high LTV users or not. Or second session, same day. Or rewarded at accepted. That will show you ad tolerance signal. So if you're asking me, since I'm making things a little bit more complex with this additional set of in-app events, right? If we are going to track these activities manually in 2026, of course not. We will automate this marketing flows and we will help you to find out that specific insights regarding predictions with pulse alert notifications. So that's a feature, that's a growth solution. We have introduced, it has been so long, it's in the market, but we continue improving the product. First, I will give you a quick information about what we have built and how we are improving this. So basically, this alert notification that helps you surface any specific abnormalities, unexpected behaviors in terms of ad spend, install, in-app events, CTR, IPM, you decide. Or you can also customize this alert logic if you are looking for any app behavior signals, any red flags, any performance metrics, you can also do so. And then we will be sending to you either email notification or Slack or Teams notification. This is more of like having access to right information instantly, and you can start act on it. So there are a couple of examples here. We have introduced this group logic. So instead of creating like two different logic, now we can combine them together. The first example is more of like campaign performance optimization. If CPI stays below target for 3 days, scaling spend. If CPI rises above targets, you can either pause it or maybe you can just reduce the spend, right? And the second one is for creative fatigue. Because creative layer, that's the only layer which is 100% in human hands right now, right? Let's admit that optimization, ad networks, they have very advanced algorithms, so we are not doing much. But in terms of creative set, if we are receiving right signals at the right time, we can understand better, like how often we should change the creative set, how many creative sets we should create on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis. So you can create an alert logic for if performance drops after X impressions, reducing the budget. If new creatives outperform baseline, you can boost the spend. So pulse alert notification, this is more of like creating that specific threshold and alert logics and getting notified instantly, but that will require analyzing historical data, right? We are also making everything easier for you instead of having this like manual analysis, and now you can use this growth copilot, which is our AI assistant. So this is like plug and play AI layer built into Datascape. It's all integrated with aggregated data, so you can question or prompt anything you want. It might be a specific metric you are looking, you might be uncovering different patterns, or maybe you're going to run an incrementality test with historical data and you are just asking the question what type of campaigns or specific patterns you can start running an incrementality test. So sky is the limit here. And for the teams, they might go further. We also offer adjust MCP, and that allows you adjust measurement data to be securely and seamlessly integrated into any agent-based architecture. So with this growth copilots, not only for identifying and uncovering that specific signals or metrics or patterns, but you can also create reports. And now growth copilot is also integrated to Pulse. So what we are doing here is, let's say, there is a specific executive summary for the last week's data, right? You are sending it to upper management, and you would like to prompt this every week. You can just define the prompt once. This is basically what you want to know. And then you will choose when and how often this should be run, and Copilot will prepare the analysis in the background, and this ready-to-use report will be delivered on time. This is just an example for this weekly executive summary, but we talked about, I want to go back to this creative fatigue topic, because this is a complex topic, because every company is analyzing this in a different way. It might be just a simple analysis in terms of impressions, if it's going down by 20%, if you're seeing a decline, that says that you need to update the creatives. It might be CTR, it might be CPI, you decide. But of course, this is not going to be a static threshold, right? Let's say you are working with this alert logics, you are creating that specific alert logic based on this historical data. But when you are creating new campaigns, running new campaigns, and with this marketing mix, the static data will change. And you can also automate this with the scheduled report. You can decide, of course, first how you are analyzing this, and then you can have the scheduled prompt, and you can run this every week, every 2 weeks, and that will help you to update the threshold on the alert notification side. So this is such an exciting topic, and that's the future of measurement. So our plan is connecting all these growth solutions with Growth Copilot. Imagine incrementality integrated with Growth Copilot whenever you are running a new campaign with a new ad network or in the new geo, and Growth Copilot will be informed, and we will generate that incrementality test automatically without you going to incrementality reports and creating it manually. So it's all about leveraging AI for operational purposes. So if you're interested in, we will be happy to have to continue having this conversation. We have a booth in this floor, so please let me know. Thank you very much.
I think we have a little bit of time for questions. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you, Cansu, for this lovely speech. I would love to know, I'm focused on UI creatives, and now with AI, we do tons of them. And I was wondering, what type of reliable signal would you look at in order to say this is a winner ad?
So it all depends like how you are monetizing it first. There will be like different signals, but on our side, the most important thing is collecting all this specific like revenue activities. Doesn't matter if it's like IAP driven game or ad revenue driven game. Of course, like ROAS will be very important here, right? But at the same time, if you're focusing on like targeted ROAS campaigns, so there will be different set of KPIs. If you're just focusing on volume, like CPIs, if it's a ad-driven game and you're trying to just, recover UA spend like in the next 7 days or 14 days, there will be a different set of KPIs. Like what I can suggest here is sometimes like we are tracking those activities like metrics separately, but at the same time, actually you can just merge them together, So if you are giving credit for like different like maybe ROAS retention and everything, so we can just create that combined metric together, and you can give enough credit for two separate activities. That might be a better way to evaluate like what is the winner creative here, right?
Brilliant. Yeah, we'll have one final quick question.
Hey, Cantu. A couple of quick questions. One, A, B. Firstly, on the optimization piece, does it have right API capability? So is it, if you're applying these rules-based optimizations, can it apply it to the relevant channel, whether it's Meta, Snapchat?
Yeah, of course. The alert notification, it's just notifying you in an email or Slack notification way, but that's also integrated with campaign automation. So if you would like to apply the same alert logic to change bid, budget, or campaign status, so you can also create a campaign automation rule.
Okay, and tied to that, in terms of your correlation, essentially...
We are working with all these major ad networks. We are integrated with them, so you don't have to go change bid and budget. One thing I can highlight here is, if you're able to change bid, budget, or campaign status on ad network dashboard, you can do these things on adjust dashboard as well. But if network is not allowing you to do any changes on sub-source level, then we are also not allowed to make those changes. Basically, it's just an API connection.
Yeah.
We are sending this information to ad network side, so you don't have to open like 10 different tabs to update it, so you can just do it on the adjust dashboard.
And the last quick question is the correlation analysis. So the additional signals are going to be different for different advertisers. The intermittent parts of the journey that link to a purchase, that are correlated to a purchase, the proxy events. Does the analysis also come up with those suggestions, or should the advertiser define that and then they just use your tool to set that up?
Yeah, even for the same genres or very similar apps, there will be different dynamics, because we don't know like what is their marketing mix, how they are setting up their campaigns. Sometimes they are just focusing on CPM or CPI-based campaigns, and the other ones they are focusing on day 7, day 21 targeted ROAS campaigns. So they completely like operate differently. I think the most important thing is just analyzing like historical data to understand better, and also your objectives, right? Like not everyone have the same financial security in terms of recovering UA spend. That also quite important.
Brilliant. Can we give Cansu another round of applause, please?
Thank you very much.